Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus, and we are here for the oil inventories report. And I want to welcome everyone on YouTube that's watching us in our daily stream. All right, let me hear me. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director of 10-Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures. So just give me a heads up that you can hear me and see the charts. And we're going to get started. Okay. All right. So this is our last event of the day. And, you know, we got up real early in the morning to trade what I was hoping would be a beautiful, fantastic winter for everyone. And it had some liquidity questions and issues. But let's see what we got going here with the oil report. So let's take a look at the DMM. That's first job number one. See how it's been trading. So at the moment, crude oil is a 50-50, right? We've had 6 reports. And it is 3 out of, well, it's 3 out of 3. It's also on a Thursday. It's also at an abnormal time. So it's, you know, right now it's not a report that is part of our live trading. It's just the way it is. It's one of those reports we know after all the years of trading oil, oil has significant inconsistencies over the years. There are times when you'll get 4 out of 6 winners on a regular basis for even a couple of months. And then there are times when it just doesn't trade well at all. And then there's times like now where it's a coin toss. You know, you've had 3 out of the last 6. Ideally, if you really want to get a handle on what's going on with a report, you have to look at a collection of DMMs, right? You have to look at a collection of moments in time. Okay, that's what a DMM is. It's really collections of moments in time. That's how I think about them. So let me just show you a bunch of DMMs. It never hurts to pull a few up just to give you an idea how it's been trading. All right, so for argument's sake, we go to April, and let me get the right files. So hold on, let me do this the right way. That would be nice if I loaded the right files. I don't want WMMs. I want DMMs. So give me half a second. I apologize. All right. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the month, the beginning of last month. And we're going to go further back to the beginning of the month before that. Let me just see if I can come up with 3 or 4 moments in time that'll help us. And one more. And we'll go back to February. Or even a tiny bit earlier. 2 seconds. I just want to find one more for us. But I don't want to take 500 years either doing it. All right, here we go. So if we go back to January, now I don't think this is going to be any good. This is wrong. That's okay. Okay, go back to the beginning of January, end of January, and you have a 50-50 again. 3 stops, 3 winners, end of January into the beginning of March. And unfortunately, I can't grab all the files. They don't show up. Okay, so end of January. Then if we go into, let me just find one more so I can show you just 2 collections of these things. Because it helps, it really helps to get a feel for what's really going on. But sometimes the way that the files come up, it makes it very tricky to find them. So give me one more second. If I can't find them easily, I guess I'll give up. It's crazy. The WMMs are showing up with no problem, but not the DMMs. So let's see if this will work. Okay. Middle of February into the middle towards the end of March. And there were 4 out of 6 winners. Okay. So not bad. Looking at that collection. So that's, you know, when you have 4 out of 6 winners, you might have motivation to trade. Now, if we look at end of December, look how it was trading at the end of the year. End of the year, it was trading rather well. Might be a little bit hard to see, but it actually had 5 out of 6 winners. But now we're more in a 50-50 mode. All right. Since the end of March, right now, beginning of May, first week, we've got 3 out of 6. The truth is what we say it is. It is an inconsistent report, year in, year out. And the other thing about crude, it does not have fantastic risk to reward. You've got a 20 tick stop and a target of 10 ticks on the first target. So we're risking 400 to make 300. If it was a 5 out of 6 winner, 4 out of 6 winner regularly, then you can deal with that because you're also going to have some winners that are better than that. You might get a move that moves 30 ticks on your second target instead of 20. But overall, the reality of crude is that, very honestly, it is an inconsistent coin toss. And you have to make a decision. Is this the report that's going to build my account? That's really the decision. And it really isn't. I mean, look, if you want to do this in the strictest manner, where you're only going to do this unequivocally, hardcore, just trade opportunity, not coin tosses, then you have to just watch this one. You have to learn on it. But you may not want to trade it as a breakout because it just doesn't have the setup. Now, it's a Thursday. It's at 11 o'clock. It's definitely, I wouldn't be trading it today anyway. That's the truth. Normally, this is Wednesday at 10:30. I believe in consistency of the ones that I trade if I'm going to trade it. Now, the time of the event is 10:59:58. Sorry, 10:59:58 is the trigger time. The bracket is 12, and the targets are 10 and 20. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Profit target 1 is a 10. Profit target 2 is a 20. The stop is 20. And if it hits the first target, I would move my stop to break even -4. And then I'm going to label it CLBRK for breakout. And I'm going to look at the bracket. Make sure we're in sim. I'm going to enable the trade with the time of the trade set to 0. And then as soon as there's movement, it's going to calculate the bracket. Now, very interesting. It's popping right to the high of the day, and it's popping right to R1. Isn't that interesting? It's an interesting opportunity. If it's not a good breakout, it's an interesting opportunity for our new setup, the reverse breakout. So what if it should pop to the high and then change direction? It's possible. It's certainly possible that it could do that. They're expecting a drawdown of negative 2.8 million barrels. Oil does not always respond to the news in the direction that you think it's going to. It just doesn't always do that. Right now, I'm going to leave the breakout set the way it is. 10:59:58 because it's an 11 o'clock event. So the breakout is ready. The other thing that we often see with the oil report is we often do see changes in direction after the news is released. And a lot of times you can use support and resistance with the squeeze also to sometimes help you make a decision about what you might want to do if you're going to trade what we call a secondary trade, a trade after the news. Or maybe you don't want to trade the breakout because the breakout is not ultra rewarding on this report. So it might be a report that you only trade after the news. So you need some clues as to what might work after the news. Sometimes oil will go to the VWAP and change direction. Now the VWAP is pretty close. It's only 25 ticks away, right? The DMM can help you see what the spikes were. 36, 41, 20 ticks, 58 ticks. So the VWAP is 25 ticks away. It's a little bit less than what most of the reports, when they do well, have been reaching. So it might be that it's more probable we're going to get a move to the PP down here. It's possible. Now that's getting way further away. It's 35, 55 ticks away. That's quite a bit. You've got the R1 and the VWAP 28 ticks away. That might be an interesting area to take along, especially because oil looks a little bit bullish this morning, right? Let's take a look at like a 10-minute, 15-minute chart. Oil's definitely bullish today. All right. It's been in an uptrend since midnight. All right. So I would be leaning today towards a secondary trade that would help me go long. If the news should be a monstrous build, in other words, if there's a 10 million barrel build in inventories, meaning there's a lot of extra oil around, that would change my thinking. I might not jump into a long so fast. Okay. All things being considered, if the news is close to what's expected, because oil's so bullish, going to the upside might be our best possibility of an after the news trade. So we'll keep an eye on what the news is, and we'll keep an eye on the behavior. And I'll set up in my Buell Knox account a secondary micro trade, looking for a move right after the news, trading up to 5 minutes after the news. We know that oil does have changes in direction after the news, and there could be a few of them. So I'll set up a discretionary trade. All right, discretionary trade, and I'll use 2 positions with micros, and I'll have a target of 10 and 20 ticks, just like our DMM. The stop will be 25 ticks. And I'm going to be looking to see if we have any opportunity to trade after the news. And I'm going to label it REV, REV, only to differentiate it from our regular trade. Oh, would I call it oil or CL? We'll call it oil reversal today's date. All right. And I just need to connect my Buell Knox. Now, if you notice, price has been going up since we've been talking. It's further away from the R1 and the VWAP, possibly giving us a better opportunity for a long at that area. Now it just dropped, but it's just something you want to keep an eye on. See if the opportunity gets better or worse as we get ready to take this trade. So our charts match. We got our breakout on the left, and we have our micro in the Buell Knox account. So right now, that's the plan. Let's check our time sync. One of the things you want to do is make sure your computer is in sync. We do that by going to the website time.is, www.time.is. And when I do that, it checks to see if my computer is in time sync. It doesn't put it in, it just checks. And we do have free software that we supply for everybody. It's in our trade room disk drive called the Room Drive, and everybody's welcome to it who comes into the trade room. Now notice the opportunity for the VWAP trade is getting worse because it's getting closer and closer to that R1 and the VWAP there. But we'll see. Maybe, just maybe, the low of the day could come into play. It's possible. So we'll see. And looking at last week, our report. There's the brackets. Price shoots down. There was a big build last week. If I remember correctly, it's going to hit the targets, I believe. Okay. And then you might have a change of direction trade right there at the R1. So that's a possibility. It's a pretty big build. The reversal might not be that great. It's not a huge build. But you see, it did not do a good reversal. It needed to get to the low. Okay. Big difference. At the low, I think there's possibly a better opportunity for the reversal. And in all seriousness, last week was just not a good reversal at all. And that happens. You don't always get it to do what we think it's going to do. A lot of times those reversals do work nicely, though. If we look at the week before, now we are on contract August, MCL 8/24. The news came out. It was a build, and it was just not a very good response to the news. So we canceled. All right. Now, you still might have an after the news trade. So there's more oil around than expected. So then maybe if it gets to the high of the day, you might want to reverse there, right? Something you want to think about. It gets there. Might be an interesting place to reverse. And bingo, that worked. That's the concept, all right? That's the concept. Let's look at another one. I got the video from 3 years ago. And actually, it's a little bit more. I thought it'd be fun to just look at a very old oil trade. We were trading live. It was April 21st, 2021, in the pandemic, I would say, right? The pandemic lasted 2 years at least. I think it's still going on, but it's a whole other issue. The pandemic will never end. I'm not serious about that. Anyway, April 21st, 2021. That was a year, 9 months after the pandemic was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. I think it was March 20th. March 20th. So this was pandemic trading. There's the brackets. Now it had a fairly large sized move, but I noticed there was quite a bit of slippage on that move. Because you notice the candle was fairly decent sized. The charts were spread pretty wide too. So it really wasn't that big of a move. If you look at it, that price is 88 and it's only 18 ticks. It's not that big. And if you look at what happened, there was a big, not a huge build, but more oil around than they expected. It did push down initially, but it was not easy to grab profit on that because of the speed at which it moved. We were only trading one contract also. Sometimes when you trade one contract, it's actually harder to make a profit because you're usually, when you trade just one contract, you're not going for the smaller target. You're going for either somewhere in between your targets or a little bit bigger than what your first target would have been. You want to make it worth the trade if you only trade one contract. All right, so we've only got a little less than 3 minutes to go. The price looks like it definitely wants to test the high. That high is a magnet. The VWAP R1 is a magnet. Lows of days are magnets. PPs can be magnets. PP right here. Any magnet that you like can be a magnet with our new magnet trade, which if you sign up for the challenge, you're going to find that out. Our challenge is coming up very soon, very soon. So that's the truth. I'll put the link in after the trade because we're going to teach all about the magnet trade. There's going to be a 2-week free trial of the magnet trade. All right, we've got a minute and a half. Okay, I'll put the link in there, but don't pay attention to it now. All right. So we'll keep an eye on the after the news trade to see if I can find anything. But first we'll watch the breakout and see what the breakout does, if anything. Now, sometimes you get a candle explosion trade where maybe it'll burst all the way to the low in one candle. If it did something like that, I would try to reverse it. If it bursts to the PP with one candle, I might try to reverse that instantly by just clicking the instant long button. But otherwise, normally we're going to watch the breakout first. The breakout almost trades itself. There's the bracket. There's the news, went right to R2. 2.57 million draw. So one of the problems is it's very close to what the expectation was. It's very close. I would take a short here for a change in direction. I don't think it's a big enough. Now, I could be making a mistake because the market's pretty bullish, okay? But I still think very possibly we should get this change in direction, at least to hit my first target. I think it should hit my first target. If it hits that target, I'll move my stop to safety. I could make it hit my target by doing this. Hits my target, it's still going. Stop to safety, so no matter what, I won't lose money. And now maybe it'll even hit my second target, so I'll trail a little bit. I'm letting the breakout just do its own thing because it's not real money, all right? The Buell-Knox trade is real money. I don't think it's going to get to that far of a target, so let's make it a little more reasonable. And it'll either change direction and take us out with a small profit, or If it keeps going down, I'll trail a tiny bit. Oh, look at that. Trail a little bit more, a couple of ticks. The breakout, not dead yet. Highs of days. Okay, bingo. Very nice little Buell-Knox micro trade. All right. Still going. Still going. The breakout looks like it hit target 1. Let's see what the breakout did. I got to watch the video. So the breakout LE hit target 1 and then failed. Okay. Hit target 1 and then failed. So what happens is the stop was smaller than 20 because we moved our stop to break even minus X ticks, right? Remember, why was it a winner and not a loser, even though our stop started out bigger than our first target? What saved the trade from being a loser and instead made it a winner is when it hit the first target, we used our feature in the software, target 1 stop move. When it hits the first target, move the stop to break even minus 4. So we had our 10 tick target, less 4 is 6 ticks. The trade made $60. So it's, in this case today, better to win than lose, even though the breakout wasn't fantastic. Okay. And we took an opportunity to take a reversal. The news was very close to what was expected. When the news is very close to what's expected, the opportunity for changes in direction are greater than if there's a huge build or a huge drawdown most of the time. So that's why I was willing to take that change in direction. Okay. And normally we like to take change in directions for 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes after the trade. So we can take a look at the video to see what happened on the breakout trade. Let me show you what happened. My webcam disappears because the webcam is part of the recorder, which I had to turn off so we could look at the video. Okay, so here's the video. And first thing we'll do is we'll watch the breakout trade. Okay, so here's our breakout trade. The news was as expected, and it pushed the price of oil to the upside. It immediately hit the first target and went further. It missed the second target just by a tick. But remember, this is sim. There's no slippage in sim. So in real life, it probably would not have gotten that second target anyway. But then what happened is it failed. But notice how our stop moved up. It was not 20 ticks away anymore. And that's why the trade did not lose money. It almost got to that target again. Had I been watching and managing the breakout instead of the reversal, I would have moved my target into the price to make more money. I would not have let it be 1 tick away. I would have pulled it, pulled my target into that price. And then it changed direction and took us out, which is not that unusual on the oil report. Okay. All right. So not a bad outcome. Not a bad outcome if you traded it. Profits available on both sides after the news and the breakout itself. So I want to thank everybody for watching. We will be back tomorrow. I'll show you, check the schedule. Oh, folks, 3 in the morning. I forgot about that. We have a lot going on tomorrow. We'll be in the trade room at 3 in the morning again for French flash manufacturing, German flash manufacturing, and then we'll come back in the room at 8 o'clock for Canada retail sales, some more flash manufacturing, the US version. All right. And the day will finish with natural gas on a Friday. Very, very strange to have natural gas on a Friday. Okay, everybody, I'll see everybody at 3 in the morning. That'll be pretty crazy. Okay, folks. Have a good rest of the day. I'll see everybody later. And thanks everyone on YouTube for joining us today. And hit that like button on your way out. Okay, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.